Hello, good evening. Whenever you happen to see this video, continue reading the book from the book Bert Hellinger, A Philosophy of Being, Rising in Love, published in 2008. And those are spheres, and they have trees on them. Okay, rising in love. The beginnings. The beginnings. Introduction. The essential insights into the orders of human relationships came to me only slowly on a long path of insight. In this chapter, you can come along with me on this path of discovery. You can walk and experience it with me from the beginnings. The individual chapters took shape over the course of a year. The insights on which they are based are continually checked through living experience. Therefore, they are also journeys of discovery in our souls. Each chapter leads a bit further into the orders of giving and taking, into the laws of conscience and of belonging and exclusion, and into the orders of love between man and woman and parents and children. My book, Insights, Lectures, and Stories, may be consulted for readers wanting further insight into some of these areas. My book, Insights, Lectures, and Stories, may be consulted for readers wanting further insight into some of these areas. Guilt and innocence in relationships. Human relationships begin with giving and taking, and with this giving and taking begins our experience of innocence and guilt. This is so because the one who gives has an expectation, and the one who takes feels an obligation. Expectation on the one hand and obligation on the other create the basic pattern of guilt and innocence in every relationship. It serves the transaction of giving and taking. Neither giver nor taker will feel satisfied unless the giving and taking is balanced out. This means that the one who takes has to have a chance to give, and the one who gives must also be able to receive. Following is an example of what is at work. The balance. In Africa, a missionary was going to be transferred to another area. On the morning of his departure, a man who had been walking for several hours came to the missionary to present him with a small goodbye gift. The missionary realized that the man wished to thank him for having visited him when he was ill. He also understood that the small gift represented a huge sum to the man. The missionary was tempted to hand it back and even to add something to it. However, he thought better of it and accepted the money with gratitude. When we receive a gift from someone, no matter how pleased we are, we lose our independence and innocence. When we take, we feel ourselves to be in debt to the giver. We experience this debt as discomfort and endeavor to free ourselves and want to free ourselves from this pressure by giving in return. Every gift has this price. Innocence, on the other hand, we experience as pleasure. The pleasure of having a claim on someone when we have given without taking or given more than we have taken. The pleasure of lightness and freedom when we owe nothing to anyone, need nothing, and take nothing. The deepest satisfaction comes when we have both received and given in equal measure. To reach this place of innocence and to maintain it, there are three typical ways of behaving. One, sitting on the fence. Some wish to preserve their innocence by refusing to participate in any exchange. They would rather shut down than accept anything from others. In this way, they don't feel obliged to anyone. This is the innocence of the bystanders who do not wish to dirty their hands. Such people often feel special or consider themselves better than others. But at the same time, they are often empty and discontented because they live on the sidelines of life. Many depressives adopt this attitude. Their refusal to take begins with their father and mother or both parents. Later on, this refusal is transferred to other relationships and onto any good things in the world. These people justify this refusal to take by saying that what is offered is not the right thing or that it is not enough. Some justify their refusal to accept what is offered by saying that it has to do with the inadequacies of the other person. However, the result is always the same. They remain inactive and feel empty. Completeness. We see the we see the opposite in those who are willing to take from their parents. These people are able to accept their parents as they are and gratefully acknowledge and accept what is given by them. This receiving is experienced as a constant flow of energy and as happiness. It enables them to have other relationships in which they also give and take in full measure. 2. The helper syndrome. Oh, excuse me. The helper syndrome. A second way of experiencing innocence is bound up with the feeling of having a claim upon others. It may happen when we have given more to others than they have given to us. This kind of innocence is usually temporary because as soon as we take them, no, as soon as we take from the other person, our feeling of entitlement stops. Some hang on to this sense of entitlement rather than accepting something from others in return. The sequence that goes along with this position might be I'd rather you felt an obligation than me. We find this with many idealists. We know this pattern as the helper syndrome. However, such freedom from obligation is not very conducive to good relationships. The par- the part the partner who wishes, in fact, the partner who wishes only to give maintains a sense of superiority when in fact that feeling should be fleeting because otherwise there is no equality in the relationship. And as he refuses to take anything from others, so others will soon cease to want anything from him. They will withdraw from him or become angry with him. Such helpers remain lonely and embittered. Third, 3. Exchange. The third and most beautiful way of experiencing innocence is the feeling of lightness that comes after having both given and received. This exchange of giving and taking is a healthy process in relationships. It means that whoever accepts something from another person gives something of equal proportion in return. What is important is not only the exchange, but also the transaction. A small turnover of giving and taking reaps small benefits, while a large turnover allows for richness. It is accompanied by feelings of plenty and happiness. Such happiness does not just drop into our lap, we are the creators of it. A large turnover brings with it feelings of satisfaction and of justice and peace. On the many possibilities of experiencing innocence, this is the most liberating. Such innocence creates contentment. And this is the one we experience after having both given and received. Passing on. There are some relationships, however, in which such release is not possible because there is an inherent dignity. No, no, excuse me. There are some relationships, however, in which such release is not possible because there is an inherent disparity between giver and taker that cannot be overcome. This would apply in the case of parents and children or teachers and pupils. Parents and teachers are first and foremost givers. Children and pupils are takers. It is true that parents also receive something from their children, and teachers receive something from their pupils. But does not this does not remove the disparity. It only softens it. But parents were themselves once children, and teachers were once pupils. Equilibrium is achieved in that they pass on to the next generation what they themselves received. The next generation can do the same in its turn. The German poet Boerries von Muenchhausen writes about this in one of his poems, The Golden Ball. What out of love my father gave to me, I haven't given back to him, for when I was a child, I didn't know the value of his gift. And as a man, I was like men, not soft. Now my son is growing, so deeply loved as no one else, my heart attached to him, and I in turn pass on what I was given to him. Pass on what was given to him, who will not hand it back to me. For when he is a man and thinks like men, he will, like me, take his own chosen path. I'll watch him longingly, but without envy, as he passes to my grandchild what he owes to me. Far back in time I watch, composed and happy, the generations play the game of life. Each person smiling passes on the golden ball, and no one turns around to throw it back. What applies to parents and children and teachers and pupils also applies to other situations where balance cannot be achieved by giving in return, but only by passing on to others what was given. Gratitude. Lastly, I would like to mention the act of thanking as a balance of giving and taking. In thanking, we do not avoid the obligation of returning a gift. However, sometimes it is the only appropriate response available. For instance, if someone is disabled or sick or dying, or even sometimes in the case of a lover. Besides the need for balance in giving and taking, there is also a force of primal love comparable to the force of gravity, which attracts and binds together members of a social system. This love precedes and accompanies giving and taking, and receiving gratitude is an expression of this love. The one who thanks acknowledges you are giving to me independently of me being able to return anything to you, and therefore I graciously take it from you as a gift. The person who accepts the thanks says, in effect, your love and your acknowledgement of my gift are worth more than anything else you could possibly give to me. In thinking, in thanking, in thanking, we not only confirm each other in what we give, but also what we mean to each other. We will continue in another video with only thanking, homecoming, happiness, equilibrium, and many more. Thank you very much. Until the next video, thank you. Remember to notice your breathing. Thank you.